something. So this is basically my first crack at having an interview. I wanted to bring in a really good friend of mine, Jared Bell. He's an owner of Soda Pop Agency, but he's also a local DJ. And I think he's a person that's always stood out for me locally, especially, like even throughout Australia, as a person that's leading design, is always following his passion in that area. And I thought, who better than, it'd be super comfortable for me to have a mate of mine, have a couple of beers and have a chat. What's your origin story? If you were a comic book character, how would you explain your origin story? It's like that. How did you start up in obviously design and then DJ, but then what was that defining moment that sort of swayed you to go in one direction away from sort of the other?
I think, I started off as a designer. I used to work as an apprentice graphic designer. I got given an apprenticeship through a surf company called Colt Industries back in 2007, maybe. And at the time, I was one of their team riders and one of their surfers. So pretty much, the guy was like, I was like,
they obviously didn't have a good team.
Yeah, I kind of was like, is surfing where I see myself going? And it was a no. And then the one thing I always whenever I used to work in the shop or whatever, I would always walk through the design room there, and there's 15 designers or whatever, and they're sketching and making board shorts, and you see the samples up on the wall, and then you sort of, from there, that's how I got into design. But
did you study or anything, or you just...
the apprenticeship went for 3 years. So I worked 4 days a week. Yeah, so I worked 4 days a week, and they sort of rigged it a little bit. I did 2 days in the warehouse, 2 days as a designer, learning, and then 1 day at the college at Burleigh.
Yeah.
So it was a fully government funded thing, which was awesome. So, and that was that's how I got into design. But then sort of as I went along and learnt design, and then as you get older, you turn 18 and you hit the nightclub. There's these guys, you would know them, the shortcut kids, you booked them a million times. Yeah. At Bread and Butter, I walked in and I was like, the place was rammed, and it's like an old house, and the floors...
Yeah, so this is on the Gold Coast for people who don't on the Gold Coast.
The floors used to bend, everyone would be dancing, and the floors are bending, and they're playing just these anything from 80s, 90s to now, that was oh my God, what is this? This madness. And they were playing on records, and they weren't they had computers, but they were playing on records, and I was like, oh my God, this is what is this? This is madness. So I ended up knowing one of the guys in it, and I sent him a message. I was like, mate, what is the program you're using to spin records through a computer? And it was Serato. And I bought it, and I had a record player, and I think I paid $40 for a shitty record player, one of those ones, like a belt driven, not even a belt driven. What are the ones that are the rubber band in them? Yeah. One of those, and I just and I had that, and then I bought a shitty mixer that was had the 2 CDJs on the side. It didn't even go to the right, the cue point, you couldn't even create the cue point. The cue point was just the start of the song on the CD. And from there we mixed, and I was I bought the Serato, I spent $1,000 on the Serato, but I bought a $40 record player and a $200 thing, and then it just wouldn't work. And then eventually I saved up the money, and another friend had decks, and sort of he showed me how the whole beat matching thing worked, and from there I guess it was it became a hobby.
Yeah,
and
so
it was
you were
house
still,
parties.
you basically kept all your design stuff is your weekday.
Always knew I wanted to be a designer.
So
school and stuff.
Sort of parallel passions.
And they as I said, when you turn 18, you hit the nightclub, hit the bars and the clubs and stuff, and you're oh my God, the DJ is the centre of attention.
They don't care what design I do at home.
Yeah, they don't care what I'm drawing on a sketch on a piece of paper. Oh my God, the DJ, and you're that was sort of it. And then I've always just, music is like a passion, hobby sort of thing anyway.
So like obviously a bit with my videos here, we've been talking a lot about, I think the first one I ever did was talking about visual and audio content. How have you seen visual content help the industry, and like how have you used it yourself? Because I know you obviously, sorry if you guys don't know, he's also in a duo called Tom and Jerry, and you guys came pretty close to like taking it very seriously there at one stage.
Yeah.
And I feel like design and your visual stuff was a lot to do with like that helped propel you guys to that level. Like how
I kind of saw an opportunity like when the Facebooks and the Instagrams sort of hit. You could see obviously the social, how it was tracking that this was going to be a way of the future, and this is how people were going to advertise. You know, it was going to be posters on. Sorry, it definitely wasn't going to be posters on the wall and all that kind of stuff. But I could offer a service. Like Tom is really musically talented. Like he did a lot of our redrums or remixes or remakes of tracks and adding edits and intros and doing our mashups and stuff. So we would put together, like I'd be like, oh, this song would be perfect with this song, but I couldn't. It's like a design program. Like I couldn't physically, like if I could add two CDJs separately and a mixer, I could put them together. But our whole idea was to fit as many songs in, say 2 hours, we could fit in with like without, just playing 10 seconds here and sort of mashing them up a bit. So he was really good at that side. So I was like, what can I do?
What can you bring to the table?
What can I bring to the table to really propel us forward? And it was obviously my design skills and video editing and all those kind of things. So, and we could go to a venue and be like, hey, we can supply, like, we'll do a lead up video, we'll do an after video, we'll give you a poster, we'll give you a Facebook banner, we'll give you a website banner, and we'll design
it. Venue is like...
You've just saved me $200. Oh my god! Like
I don't have to email anyone. I don't have to call anyone. And like even I think was it for you? Would have been like 2012 ish. Like even back then, design programs and stuff. Like now, there's so many apps available for people to sort of like adopt those sort of
it's easy
tasks.
To do those sort of things.
Even like was it 5-6 years ago now? That you guys coming along and offering that sort of services,
and that was massive. Like, and people would jump on it, like people were jumping on it everywhere, and like we could create like we could control, I guess, our brand and our look and what we wanted to portray. Like we could have our name as big as we wanted on the poster
because you created it,
because we're making it like that. Like it wasn't like a cool picture and then like Tom and Jerry down the bottom, or like my DJ name, whatever it was, like DJ Belsy back then or something. But like it was like down the bottom, like this was like we could have the Tom and Jerry logo as prominent as we want, or our faces, or like our photo, or whatever we wanted, so people got to know us and people got to know our brand. And we did like the shirts, and like because I had access to printing from like working in apparel design and stuff like that, so we could do those sort of things, and people were just like, it was like venues were just like, this is so rad, like there's no one else doing this kind of stuff. So
it's funny how it's still not that done.
No.
Like, and it's so like now, as I just said before, it's so easy to have a program and an app and stuff that you can just do. Like even like the really good ones, like the ones you pay for, are only like $10 a month.
Yeah.
And you can have them. So if you're already, it's a good way if like you're like looking to boost your career. I harp on it heaps, but like visual content in particular is so easy to create and so easy to be a part of. And then like as Jared was just saying, it can pass onto the venue really easily.
It is so easy to create, but the other thing is I think now you look at it and people get lazy. Like they're like, oh my god, I can just take a 2-second video, I can pop it up on Instagram. I've done my job. I'm worth my $1,000 booking fee or whatever that was included. Like you see contracts now for DJs and it's like 3 posts prior, 2 Insta stories prior. Like this is our contact, and that stuff is so easy to get. It's like 5-10 minutes of work in total.
You're talking about sort of like how you've found success with not over promising, like over committing, like over giving basically. Like really making sure that you gave
every
worth.
cent worth of what we were putting forward, and make it where like now you see like, you know, you can have that 30-second video and it's like, oh, I'm playing at such and such tonight, where there's no like, not even like, how many DJs do t-shirts, for example, anymore with their logo on it or something?
I know one locally personally.
Yeah, so like there's even that, like it's
usually
also
it's like around your shop or something like that, like around,
they do all
around
that
DJ competition.
There's no just general run of the mill advertising, and it sucks because
it's so cheap.
It's cheap, it's easy, and it's like there's options where you can do, you know, 1 or 2 shirts. You don't have to do 20, 30, 40. You can do under 10, and it only costs you, you know, under $100, like, which is one DJ gig for the weekend.
I find, like, especially from an agency's point of view, it's so hard to get the DJs or, like, you know, particular artists to commit. It's like, you know, they'll go out on a weekend and play a venue and then spend a couple $100 being at that venue, going out with their mates, but then to get them to commit that to their career, where it's like, if you just kept that $200 and then we put it into that sort of merchandise side of things, it's so hard to get people to see the bigger picture sometimes.
Yeah, we always saw it as being a designer, you know, like it's like you take on, like you work, a lot of the time as a designer, you work, you know, for a company. And that's just what you do, and then you do, you know, your freelance jobs on the side, and you get a bit of extra cash. So I saw the DJ side as a part of that freelance business. So, like I would get my normal pay, but then I would have my DJ pay, and I would also have my freelance pay. So I had all this extra cash to spend on fun things, and pushing back into. And me and Tom spent a fortune on stupid stuff. Stickers,
confetti cannons,
confetti cannons, and all these kind of things. But it gave us an edge.
I think it's about, like as I was just saying before, it's about committing. If you're going to take it seriously, it's about committing your bank account as well as your time and your passion into it. Like you can't just, like, you know, it's like organic reach on social media. It's gone now.
Yeah,
you need to commit, and it's like with ads, you only need to spend $5-10 a week. But it gives you that reach that's more than I've just done a post. You know, you need to find that happy medium of making sure you commit as much into your career.
It's like a house, like you rent a house or you rent a unit. So you rent a house, you do a budget, you get paid your $600, $700 a week, whatever it is. You know, you put your $20 a week away for your phone bill, you put your $20 away for your electricity, you put your...
It's perfect.
Like where like DJs a lot of the time get their pay and they're like... it's actually like, and they might work another job or whatever, and like, it's like
any other job. So let's just say you're, you know, a poor example to compare the two, but a tradie has to commit some of his money back into doing
tools.
His job because he's got to buy tools,
trailer, all the, and that's what it is, and that's what you find is like
everyone's too busy ripping music off the internet to remember that they've still got to commit some of their money back into their career.
And that's like, I'm a big believer in like download it. Like we don't rip music a lot of the time. Like we pay subscriptions or iTunes and stuff. And
for DJs out there that don't know about it, record pools are literally a way to even make yourself look better than you are. Like I personally DJ, but I'm not that good at DJ. But if I've subscribed to a couple of really good record pools that give you some of the best like party starter remixes where it's like 3 or 4 songs mashed up together and it'll go out, or you know,
it's a community as well. Like
inside those talking things. To other people that are interested in the same shit as you, really.
For sure.
Sort of moving away from that, I wanted to talk a little bit go back to design again and talk about what, you know, like what's a couple of things that you're using at the moment that you find, you know, someone else could easily latch onto, like, or that you've seen in the market for your phone or tablet or something like that.
Pretty much. I use obviously an Adobe suite on my laptop's iMacs. But that also translates down into phone apps. So Premiere goes down into a phone app that's really simple to use. And I use my iPhone for video because it films 4K, like 60 frames per second, which is like creates beautiful video content. And you got slow-mos and all those kind of things. You film low light. But I bought a DJI Osmo,
Yeah.
which is like a handheld. It's like $200. So far, it's my favourite toy I've bought. But it's a handheld gizmo, like a, what do you call them, gimbal.
Yeah.
And it basically takes like the shakiness away from videos, or and it's a smooth transition thing. You film from it, you can zoom, you can pan, you can do all those sort of things. So that's like probably...
Is that with your phone?
Yeah, and it connect your phone plugged straight into it, and you control it through the app and Bluetooth, and it's like...
Can you connect lights and stuff to it? Or?
No.
No.
But you don't need to.
Oh, I'm just thinking about
yeah.
time there.
You can, because you can set the within the DJI program, you can set the brightness, so you can sort of muck around with it a bit, and you sort of get the
average person could use it.
Yeah, average I could easily take it to a club, do a video, and push it out the next day with Adobe Premiere phone, and you can do it with a phone and Premiere.
Even like iMovie as well. It's like if you've got a friend with a Mac, or you have a Mac at home, iMovie works just fine.
Yeah,
for pretty much
everything. And that's like between those, and then design wise, I use an app called Procreate, and Illustrator comes down onto an iPad app as well. So between those two things, I sort of draw up posters or sketch ideas, and then I can sit in bed and do it.
How if at all has being a father affected both sides of your career, really?
Yeah. Time management is a big must now. She sleeps 3 times a day for 1 to 2 hours. I don't know if it's going to be 1 hour or 2 hours. So she sort of goes down. Yeah. So she goes down at 9 o'clock. You're like, all right, sit down and do as much work as you can. And you see her on the baby monitor, start screaming at 9:30. You're like, oh god, there goes my day.
Do you feel it's made you a bit more productive?
Probably less productive, unfortunately. But it's definitely put my everyone you talk to, new fathers, you're like, oh my god, it puts things in perspective, and it really does. I feel like you weed your way away from the shit, to put it. I don't know. It's just
you still like both things that you're doing. You still like but you're just cutting all the rest of the crap out.
Yeah, you don't. You might go oh, this club wants us to play up at such and such, and you're like, I'm going to be away from my family for 2 days, back time. You start calculating your hourly rate and what it works out to be. And it's not. Your time value increases. Yeah, so you kind of your time value increases, but also your quality of life changes a little bit. She might sleep through the night, she might not. And my partner also works as well. My wife, so she's so it's kind of a balancing act between us two of who does what and who works when, and we swap, and she'll work for a couple of hours, I'll work for a couple of hours, and it's it's definitely the time value thing. And when you finish work, you put your devices go away, and you spend time with her.
Yeah, it's interesting knowing you from both sides. You definitely do see that change.
Yeah.
Where you're sort of looking at stuff a lot closer than you previously.
Yeah, and you're not on call so much. I feel when we didn't have her, I'd be yes to everything. Somebody would be I need this done. I'm like, yep, no worries. Yeah, no worries. You just keep saying you say yes to everything, and then all of a sudden, because you don't want to let people down. But then she came along, and I was like, well, I feel like I should let this person down and not her. So it's she you don't want to.
Yeah, I can definitely with the agency, I can definitely feel the whole saying yes to things a lot.
Yeah, and
you just sort of overextend yourself pretty easily.
Yeah, and you run yourself, and then you don't really realise that until something like that comes along, and how crazy your whole your business is, and what you're doing. You just 100 miles an hour just doing stuff, and you can run to meetings, you can go to here, you can go to there, and all of a sudden you can't. It's okay, so how do I manage my week better?
Well, even today, I had got to book in a week ahead just to make sure Jared can come in and do this interview.
As I walked out the door, Chris was 5:30 is the worst time you can go out, and I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, well, she has dinner and she goes to bed, and it's now I've got to do it myself. So she's like, so it's like those kind of things, like, and you learn to, I guess,
you make
to
each other.
And
I'll
like
do it one day, you do it the next.
And like, and that's the biggest thing is like you want her to have as much freedom as I have,
as you,
and you want Lola to sort of.
Well, you both work, don't you?
Yeah, so she is casual, and we've got a store in Currumbin as well. So she pretty much runs and does that, and then she works for an online business 15 hours a week as well. And then so
it's just like, well, it shows you can be, you can have a child and still be committed to
100%. There's still lots of spare time to do holidays and get away and lunches. It's all time management. It's all so that's definitely the biggest thing.
Like both those careers would definitely teach you those things at times.
Yeah.
And then I think we'll sort of finish it up on it's something that I'd like to sort of ask everyone. And sort of, have you seen anyone in the industry, like DJ and design, I suppose, for you, because you cover both, that you feel like's doing it better than the rest? Sort of brand, content, skill, even like raw, like someone where you've just seen, it's like, man, fucking, he's got no idea yet how good he is, but man, like he'll.
Do you know what? I think I sent it to you the other day, and it's that your mum's your dad, and like he's just like an Aussie larrikin kid who's wears those weird sharp sunnies and like. In
case you didn't know, he's a social media influencer, comedian, I suppose. Comedian has turned into an influencer,
just a funny bloke,
and now he's turned into an event organizer.
So he's and he's just like, his content has always been, I guess, taking the piss out of his target audience. And he's gone like, oh God, like I think Ruka even used him for something the other week as a photo shoot, and he's working for like Champion and Feeler and all those kind of brands, which are like the target audience he's taken the piss out of. And now he's gone and he's done, I guess, it's like a festival in Bali, and it's like techno and like basically a massive bush doof in a jungle in Bali, and it's cheap, and it's like,
I don't think that's even been done yet, has it?
No, there is festivals over in Bali, but nothing like
not grungy
and not a targeted.
A bit dangerous.
Yeah, not targeted. Yeah, and it's not targeted at that audience. Like he's gone to like that expat community that are living in Bali and hanging out at Canggu and Single Fin and all these really cool places that are really Aussie orientated, and he's gone, you know what, I'm going to target these guys, that's my target audience.
Well,
and he's just honed
Aussies
in
over there at any one time, you can target that.
Yeah, and he's honed in, he's just gone, this is it. And it's like, it's not try hard, it's like there's behind the scenes stuff, the design,
you can see there's a business
the design is like, it's shitty but it's relevant, like it's that cool, that all those, that sort of 18 to 25 target audience. And I think like out of anyone, he doesn't know
how good he has it,
what he's got sort of in his hand.
It's one of those,
he's slowly recognizing it, but
it's a perfect example of how consistency can propel you, really. Like he has been, I'd say like 3 or 4 years at least, as
chopping and doing shitty videos,
just consistently to putting out shit. Basically.
And funny, like, and it's you look at it and you're like, oh my god, it's
and it like it might not, like that account might not have anything to do with entertainment, but it has a lot to do with social media and how that can relate, back to DJ being an entertainer, artist. Consistency is the key. If you can keep on putting out content that's on point, on brand,
it's all and target audience, like
exactly as Jared was saying before, like they found a way to put their brand out there, and it kept on doing it, and eventually, good. I think you guys toured Australia a couple of times, haven't you?
But they weren't like, this is the thing we sort of did was like, we just booked a bunch of gigs. Like there was no we didn't have an agency, we were doing it all ourselves.
Exactly.
And I worked for a company at the time and we were going to Sydney, so we booked a bunch of gigs and Tom flew down and
It's like finding
we found
where you can.
Yeah, it was like finding an opportunity. So we're like,
yeah.
oh my god, we're playing like, you know, we're playing Gold Coast this weekend. We're playing 2 shows in Sydney, and then we're playing another one in Melbourne. And I was in Sydney and Melbourne for work for my design job, and both the meetings and the things I had on were on like Thursday, Friday. So I talked my boss into letting me stay the weekend and fly me home. So the club didn't have to pay for flights or accommodation, work did, and then the rest we stayed with friends. So we pretty much like, or we chucked it on a credit card, I think. I think Tom's still paying it off.
It's sort of one of those things as where like, and you know, obviously running an agency, I don't want to be biased. Like, you don't need an agency. If you feel like you're going to be somewhere and you know, or you have to hit up people. Like, if you're in an area at the time, a lot of venues want different DJs. Easily, not force, but you can strong arm people into putting you on if you just make
it's more so
make
like,
them aware of where you are, you know?
Yeah, and it's like, why should they book you? And then, you know, like, you might have all these followers, but then you need the content to back it up. You know, you need those mixtapes, you need like the videos, or
nowadays,
and they get a vibe off of what you put out, and the more that they can see and view easily, then the easier it is for them to go, here's $200.
It's creating less friction. Is a big thing. It's like, if you can have your content available literally as many places as possible, it's really good for it. Yeah. Thanks a lot, buddy.
No worries. My pleasure.
Sick. That was Doing It with Together with my guest, Jared Bell, Soda Pop Agency. Go check it out. What's your socials? At Soda Pop Agency?
At Soda Pop Agency and www.sodapop.agency.
Hey, pay for those big bucks. You can go check him out online. A lot of amazing designs. He does a lot of handcrafted stuff for different businesses. Red Bull is one of his biggest clients at the moment, so he's killing it. Thank you for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, if you have any questions around some visual content that maybe Jared can answer, make sure to leave a comment and subscribe. Check you later.